Welcome to the Growing Father Podcast. My name is Felipe Freitas, and I'm your host for today. I'm a father of two amazing boys, a husband for 15 years, and a small business owner here in Florida. And today we are going to talk about the need for a best friend. But we don't always have another person available. So we're going to talk about the need to be your own best friend and to develop the relationship with yourself so that you can be there to support, to encourage, and to bring in some truth to your life. All right, so let's get into it. So today we have a very hard time connecting with people. You know, some of us will blame social media or just how busy life is. But the truth is that we've become incredibly isolated. And we use social media to replace close relationships. We use those, you can see what somebody in a different country is doing, and everybody seems to be doing amazing. And it makes us feel incredibly lonely at times. And, we've replaced all that important relationship, all that meaningful feedback that we get from other people with fake stuff, right? And so we live at a time that is probably more important than ever for us to be our own best friend. And when I say that, I mean a true best friend. So let's start this by talking about what a best friend is not, all right? So a best friend is not somebody that is constantly blowing smoke up your ass, right? That's not just always, oh my God, you're so amazing. You are so incredible. Everything you do is right, and everything you do is beautiful. That's not what a real friend is, right? A real friend will tell you the hard truths quite often, and is also not somebody that always says what you want to hear, right? Sometimes we want to hear that we're a victim. Sometimes we want to hear that the world's conspiring against us, and that if somebody would have done right by us, that we would be in a better spot. But that's not what a friend does. All right. And a real friend is not somebody that says one thing and does another. Right. We all have had that friend that says that he will be there when we need to move. And then on the day of, he has a million different excuses of why he cannot be there, right? He has to take his grandma bungee jumping or whatever it is, but he is not there, right? So hopefully this will give you some guidelines to be a better friend to yourself, but also how to be a better friend to other people, and how to choose and how to decide if somebody's being your best friend or not. So being your best friend does not mean that you're delusional, does not mean that you make reservations for two when you go out to dinner. And it doesn't mean at all that you don't need other people. But it means that you can have that kind of relationship, as Matthew McConaughey said one time, a relationship where you're somebody that you want to go have a beer with, and somebody that you respect, somebody that that will come through for yourself, right? So let's get into it. 5 points to decide, to see how you can be a better friend to yourself. Number 1, a good friend kills the pity party. All right? So a good friend kills the pity party. So we all need a friend that gives us a reality check when we have complained for a bit too long, okay? It's okay to complain and whine maybe for, 15, 30 seconds. Oh, nothing is fair. The economy is crap. But we all need that friend that reminds us that what happened to us may not be our fault. However, how we deal with that situation is 100% of our responsibility, right? We all, some of us more than others have gone through terrible situations or have been victims of terrible acts from other people, right? Some of us have been, cheated on or, victims of incredible injustice. And that may not be your fault. However, we are 100% responsible of how we react, right? life is about, if you want to be a proactive person, you need to, and have a better life, you have to take the steering wheel, right? You have to be in charge of the things that happen to us, or in charge of how we respond to those things anyway. And so a good friend will remind us that we're bigger than the circumstances, and will shut down that whining, right? A good friend is the one that says, hey man, it's been 40 years since you've been divorced. Let's move on. Hey man, I know that if you didn't get hurt in high school, you'd be the greatest star in the NFL. But you're flipping burgers at McDonald's telling those stories. So let's move on from that. Let's turn that tragedy into triumph. Let's be somebody that, despite those things that happen to us, we can achieve great things and build the life that we want, So do you want the kind of friend? Do you want to be the kind of friend to somebody else that always says, poor you? Or do you want to be the kind of friend that, hey, enough, let's get after it? Okay? One helps you feel good. The other one helps you be good, right? Helps life be better. So don't be the kind of friend that always like, oh, poor you to your other friends. And don't be that kind of friend to yourself either. Number 2, a good friend will help you recognize the part that you have played in the situations you are in. All right. So if you have a friend that always blames your boss, your spouse, your teachers, your kids, the economy, the president, the weather, whatever, when you have a problem, you have a shitty friend. A good friend will help you be better to overcome those situations. But also, if you're having issues in your marriage, a bad friend will always blame your spouse. Oh, your wife has no idea how good she has it. Your wife doesn't understand you. Your husband doesn't listen to you. You could have had better. That's a bad friend, man. We need to be a good friend to ourselves and realize that the situation that we're in, right, that when you have a fight with your spouse, very likely you had a part to play in it too, right? Maybe you're not communicating as clear as you think you are. My wife would agree with that 100%, all right? That I don't always communicate as clear as I have in my mind that I am, right? Maybe you've been neglecting your spouse, and now this fight or this situation that you're in has just grown out of that. So a good friend will help you diagnose your part in the situation. So my friends, if you have friends that are constantly blaming your spouse for everything, you need better friends, because those friends will destroy your marriage. Because they are both poisoning you and setting you up for something worse. Okay? So don't be that friend to yourself. Don't be that friend to other people. And don't accept people to be that kind of friend to you. Right? If you have those people around you, don't bring your problems to them, because they're going to just poison your relationship, poison your situation. The people that your boss is always the problem and never says, hey man, but maybe you're not doing your job. Maybe your boss is trying to push you to be better. Maybe your teacher is not that your teacher doesn't like you, is that you haven't been what you can be. All right. So you can make this, a good friend will help you on how you can make that situation better, how you can improve your marriage, how you can improve your professional situation, your business, and not just blame other people. All right. Number 3, a good friend will call you on your bullshit. When your views do not match your reality, a real friend will let you know. Right? When you say you have done everything you can in whatever area, I tried everything in my marriage, I tried everything with my kids, I worked as hard as I could on my business, a real good friend will call you out when he knows those things are not true. Now, here's the place where you being your own best friend will have a significant advantage more than other people. And that is that when you are your own best friend, you know all the times that you tried everything that you could, but really you were just trying to save face, right? When I work so hard, I'll work all day, but you know what you were doing at work, right? You know that maybe you spent half of your day at work on your phone. So when you come home and you tell your spouse that you were so tired because you worked so hard, you know the truth, right? So being your own friend means that you can call yourself out on your own bullshit, right? When things come down, when you have a problem, that you can look at yourself and tell yourself, hey, I know that I can be better. I know that I can do more. I know that I can learn how to do this. I know that I'm a work in progress, right? And to know that you did not give your best, and to tell yourself that you did not do your best. And so being your old friend will mean be honest with yourself and call yourself on your own bullshit. And when you do that, you'll be grateful for it, because you're going to start eliminating excuses out of your life and start to grow and start to make life better, versus just having all the reasons why life is not better. All right. Number 4, a good friend will give you grace and patience. All right. So that's a little different than the number 1 through 3 there. And I'm not sure why or what your particular experience is with this, but I grew up believing that talking tough to myself was the way to go, which caused me to have an awful internal dialogue with myself, and where I constantly belittle myself and always feel less than other people, which ironically makes me want to belittle other people in my mind so that I can feel a little bit better, I guess. So what an awful cycle, because this caused me to be very hard on myself and assume that if I hurt myself with my own self-talk, other people would not have a chance to. And man, nothing could be farthest from the truth for me. It actually made me feel more hurt, because I was always looking for other people to disagree with my internal self-talk, right? That when I felt like a piece of shit, that other people would come and say, no, you are not. And that did not work out well for me, because when I feel like a piece of shit, I see only the evidence in the world that affirm that belief. And the more evidence I gather, the more I believe it. And that's, like I said, that's an awful cycle to be in. But I'm trying to be a better friend to myself and believe that I'm capable of improving and growing, that I am a work in progress. So I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine the other day, not myself, with an actual friend. And, we were talking about physical fitness in particular, and how we tell ourselves, and we're impatient with ourselves to a degree that we would find ridiculous in another person, right? That if somebody came to you and said, I started this diet, I started this workout plan yesterday, and man, I'm not seeing results. I'm not seeing the results that I want. You would be the first one to say, that's absolutely ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. Give yourself some time. Hey man, good job for starting. But it's quite often that we don't give ourselves we don't give ourselves the grace and the patience that we are so willing to give others at times. Okay? And the less you have to give yourself, generally speaking, what I've seen is that the less you have to give other people. You get more frustrated with other people because you feel like they should do better. But it's coming out of you not having much to give to yourself. So start exercising that, right? I have to preach to myself here. Start exercising grace and patience with yourself, right? I was reading the High Five Method by Mel Robbins. And one of the things that spoke to me, even though I don't necessarily connect or agree with a large part of the things in her book, is that, we get so used to putting ourselves down as a way to, you're so stupid. How could you do this? How could you make this mistake? As a way to, maybe hope that other people will come in and lift us up. But guess what? Everybody's doing that to themselves. So nobody's going to come lift you up. So you have to change your internal talk so that you can start lifting yourself up for yourself and for those around you. All right. Now, number 5, still in that same line, a good friend will celebrate your victories with you. Many of you have gotten used to shitty friends that have always some negative thing to say about your dreams. You get a B, you should have gotten an A. You get an A, you didn't do any more than your job, right? Many of us grew up with parents that was the situation. You got to a position at work, they're already telling you how you should be looking for the next position, how somebody else has a better position. You rent a house, how somebody else is greater because they bought a house. Whatever the shit it is, right? But despite of you always growing up or always being used to looking for the next thing, the next battle, the next win, and not having the chance to enjoy it, always looking for the thing that you have not accomplished yet, a good friend knows when to open that bottle of champagne, show up at your house, and be excited for you. Okay? So sometimes for the little wins, sometimes for the big wins, but a good friend will know how to celebrate with you. Perhaps it's, hey, it's a day that you've been sober. Hey, it's a day that you went to the gym. It's a day that you didn't eat that donut that somebody brought to the office and you stuck to your goals. But a friend will know. And it's okay. It's okay to be proud of yourself. All those little wins, all they do is to stack up for the big wins. There's no big wins that happen out of nowhere. Okay? I've heard people say, it took me 15 years to become an overnight success. When you hear the stories of the greats, right? Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, every actors that have become an overnight success, they talk about how they worked and they suffered incredibly hard when everybody was sleeping, when everybody was partying. They were working on their craft, right? Stephen Covey says, private victories precedes public victories. So it's okay for you to celebrate those victories that only you know about. Perhaps it's that habit. Perhaps it's when you woke up and started working on your book, or when you went for that run, or when you chose kindness and patience and courage instead of, the opposite. So you can celebrate with yourself. Man, I'm proud of myself for, perhaps is when you didn't blow your horn at somebody that cut you off in traffic, or perhaps how quickly you realized that you were letting some bad habit take over. So it's okay for you to celebrate those victories with yourself. Doesn't mean you go and have to buy an actual bottle of champagne, but to look at yourself and be proud. Hey, I'm on the right direction. I'm a work in progress, and I'm going exactly where I want to go. Right? So it has been a long road for me to become a better friend to myself, and it has improved my relationships with others as well. But honestly, I still have a long way to go, right? I still catch myself talking very negatively and being very hard on myself quite often. And, this podcast has been a great preaching to myself moment. I've been thinking of these things because I've been recognizing more and more the need that I have to be better at this. And I hope this is helpful. This was helpful to you, and that you can give yourself a hug, keep yourself accountable to your goals, and be proud of yourself and tell yourself the hard truths that nobody else will. Alex Hormozi has one of my favorite lines in the past couple of years is that your own respect is the hardest to earn. And even though we constantly trying to earn other people's respect, our own is the hardest to learn. And the more I see that, the more I respect myself, the easier it is for other people to respect me as well. And so the more we grow as a person, the more we stick to the things that we said we would do. Our word becomes more valuable and carries more weight for us. So that when we know, hey, tomorrow I'm going to wake up early and I'm going to go to the gym, we know we will, versus being, I'm going to wake up if I feel like it. All right. I hope this is helpful for you. I hope that this has an impact in your life. And thank you for spending this time with me. Follow our podcast for more episodes and more talk. We're going to start having some cool guests here, and share this episode with somebody that you love that think that can be a better friend to themselves. All right. Until next week, I'll see you later.